Welcome everyone, episode 7. Jeez, getting more into it. We have a super fun game that we're gonna play today. So it's gonna be questions out of this card game called Big Talk. And the intention with this card game is kind of like basically skip the small talk and it's just like super deep questions. So I figured, yeah, we figured like let's just shuffle these cards and ask each other questions and kind of share our answers.
Yeah, and we were talking about just before we got on here, like how much like we're so in sync, but like we don't really know a lot about each other like on this in the physical, but we just like we know each other like psychically, so we're like let's ask each other questions and like
Yeah.
really get to know each other
Yeah.
in this like human life form.
Ooh, okay. Two questions I've been shuffling. This is gonna go with like some tarot style. We don't know what's gonna.
Uh,
So two cards just flew out immediately. This is super interesting. If you could create and run your own country, what would it be like? That's
that's a really good question.
yeah.
Um, okay, there's a couple of things that like I know for sure that I would really like off the top in my country. It would be like very common for people to grow their own food. And yeah, like people would grow their own food and people would be like, and not just like food, like everybody would have like a job and not like, oh, like how, not in our society, like something that you're like really good at and naturally gravitate toward, like that skill would be honored and cultivated. And like instead of having schools, you would go to somebody who's like does something similar to like what you're good at as a child. Like let's say you're like an artist, then you would go train with an artist and like you would just like learn how to do that particular skill. And if like you were like interested in like, growing food, then you would go like work with like the farmers or
I love it.
whoever's doing that, or cooking. Or if you're really good with children, you know what I mean, like then like you would be like in like a nursery, or and you would like learn from people who are really good at those particular skills. So like the education style would be different and the food would all be like fresh and like and grown like and like traded like within like very like naturally grown. um I think yeah, that would be really cool. Like just basically like the self, like the I'm trying to think of the word. The personal goal of the person, or like the life goal of the person would be cultivated. So that would be like easier to
Yeah,
learn and achieve that.
yeah.
What about you?
Honestly, pretty much it's pretty similar because I've always one question I've always pondered about is it possible for a money-free society? Ideally, to cultivate that, people would need to be on such a high vibration that, like, for example, in a shared community, not like kind of like a communism type deal, but it's like more like everything is shared and
Mm-hmm.
you are looking out for the greater good. So my main focuses would be to like everyone learns and grows to be high vibrational individually, and everyone is just living their purpose and just following their fun impulses. So and I feel like that works out because it's like, dude, if you're so obsessed with like carpentry, like you're just gonna want to build houses for people. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of similar to like just every person just follow what you're most interested in and just like because eventually if everyone's doing what they love, it's all gonna work out.
Yeah, like they're already on a high vibration if they're doing what they love.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like almost like a no-brainer. It's like
Mhm.
and most people, what I find, they really do want to help. And
Yeah.
like there'll be certain things like everybody has that like certain thing that they just naturally do and they do for free. You know what I mean? And it makes them
Exactly.
happy to do it.
What would you do for free? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like
So
cultivating the high vibration is important because, like, if there's no money, like in my society, I wouldn't want money to be a motivator, but it's like you'd have to kill your ego to want to be greedy in that sense or want to show off. Because, like, why else would you want money? Like, you want the fancy car, you want the fancy house, you want that status. But it's like, if you're high vibrational, bro, like, you're already a divine being. Like, what more do you have to prove?
yeah, no, exactly. I don't think like also in my society I don't really like yeah, I wouldn't really think that like money would be necessary. And it's even like saying like, oh, like let's say somebody gives you something and then like you owe them, like let's say like you trade grapes, right, but your like yams aren't ready, so you take the grapes and you're like, yeah, then you have to prove that you'll give them yams later. It's like, no, they'll give you the grapes, it's a gift, And later you'll be like, you'll feel easy to be like, I'm going to give a gift of yams. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, like, I don't know if you're going to give it back or not. So like, I'm just going to be
Yeah.
waiting here with this like piece of paper that says you will, you
Yeah.
know, like it's, everything is a gift in this society, you know, like you don't need money.
Yes, dude, I love that so much. Ooh, dude, I gotta start imagining that more. Like, why not?
I like that.
I was shuffling. Okay,
Ooh,
all of these cards are just gonna fly out. This is super cool. All right, my bad. All right, this one says, "What piece of advice would you offer to a newborn infant?"
advice to an infant. Okay. You know who you are and don't let anybody on this earth tell you who you are.
I love that
And
so
like
much.
stay the course.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, well, and I had to practice with this with both of my nephews, just holding them, like, and I would just like telepathically telling this. The advice I would give a newborn is, "Welcome to Earth. You're so brave, and there's nothing you can't do or have."
Yeah.
Dude, we're so brave to be here. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
All
I
right.
think of like, you know, like some people like they think of like if you have like a hard life, they're like, "Oh, poor guy, poor girl, have a hard life, whatever," right? But like I think of Earth, like if you think of it like a school or a training camp, it's like do you say to somebody who's in their master's or doctorate, like, oh, poor person, like, chose the hardest school? No, you're like, congratulations. Like, you're
Yeah.
really, you know, like,
Like good
you're
shit.
doing something hard. So it's
Yeah.
like, if somebody has a hard life, it's like, congratulate them for like, you know, getting their doctorate. So
Hell yeah.
that's how I start to see it now. It's like, I chose a pretty like complicated situation. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I must be like at a high level spiritually, you know, to come to this earth school to do this.
Yeah. And I always think back like when Dolores was, and I think Bashar has mentioned this too, like how people who choose to be in disabled bodies in this lifetime, it's like, dude, they're getting the most out of the experience. And it's like when Dolores was just like, there's just a line of souls waiting to enter a disabled body specifically. It's like, jeez.
Yep.
Even like homeless people, it's like, dude, like, and it's just so beautiful to see people in that sense, you know? It's like, wow, like
Yeah.
you're a freaking warrior.
It's interesting because if you think about like, let's say you like come into like a normal, able bodied, easy life situation, like how much like choice do you really have? If everything's just so easy, you almost just go with the flow of whatever is happening very easily. You don't have to stop and think. You don't have to like, if you were missing a leg, for example, you would view the world so differently than someone who has two legs. And so like you're able to like really see a totally different version of the same earth because of that difference, right? So it's like and like if we're all a piece of source, source is looking for the most interesting, complicated way to view itself.
Dude, you just made me realize, bro, the new Earth is our personal new Earth.
Hmm.
Whoa.
What do you mean by that?
Like I guess like whenever I thought of like new Earth, I kind of feel like it was more, which is kind of true. Well, I don't know if it's true or not. But like I always imagine it's like, all right, people like operating on kind of similar levels of vibration and consciousness. It's like that's who you're meeting and interacting with the most, and like that's what you're experiencing on Earth. But then
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like it's all a personal experience anyway. Levels, like it's still a completely different point of view and perspective than like what you and I would have.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
so
and it's supposed to be, you know, even like the thing about Earth, even if everything like let's say like we come out of alignment and then we make a decision and then we bring ourselves back into alignment, what we're doing now, it's like that's there's like a huge time difference between like let's say like you're going through life and everything's going peachy and then all of a sudden you meet somebody who's very similar to you but they have something you don't have, then you're gonna be like, oh crap, like I don't have that thing and now I know I want that thing. And like it might take you like a couple of days to be like, hey, like I'm being jealous, like maybe I should, you know. But like on the new earth we're still gonna have those feelings, but it's just gonna be like a quick, like, oh, I don't have that thing, oh, I can get that thing, okay, cool, now I'm on my way to that thing. Like it's like quick, but we're still gonna have that misalignment then realignment because
yeah.
that's how we expand, right? We have to. But that
Yes.
distance is going to be so much shorter. Yeah.
I
I
love
love that
this.
you brought up the New Earth. I was thinking about the New Earth actually in the first question when you're like your own country. I was like, then I said it and I was like, that sounds like the New Earth actually.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
We don't need our own country. We're making a new planet.
We're making planets. This question flew out.
Okay.
What's your favorite place in the world?
I don't know if this is the easy way to answer, but like there are just so many places that I don't want to choose one and or maybe I haven't been there yet.
Okay. Yeah.
I could definitely name a couple of my top favorites.
Hmm.
On the near the island of Capri in the Blue Grottos, that is one of my most favorite places. Where I met you, I
That's so
just remember like when I looked into the water, I felt it was so familiar almost. It was just so absolutely beautiful. Like I felt so connected to it.
yeah.
Um, that's one of my favorite places. Yeah, we'll leave that at there for now.
Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
I want to say like, and it's not confined to one specific place, but my favorite
Mhm.
place to be in the world is floating on my back in on the beach in the water
Mm.
and just like having the sun on me. And my favorite view is just like looking down and I see my feet just playing in the water and the sunlight just like reflecting on all of it. But physically, I would say like right now, and I kind of feel that too. It's just like I feel like I'm still gonna discover that later in life. But one of my favorite places is I snuck into a private beach in Turks and Caicos, and I just loved it. It was the most beautiful sunset I've ever experienced in my life. And it was just all luxury beach houses. And in that moment, I was like, dude, this is it. Like,
Uh,
everything I want to manifest is right here, right now. And I technically did manifest it. And I even snuck into a house. And I watched the sunset from like the person's second floor hammock. There was no one there. So that was so just
oh my
representation.
god. That reminds me of like Goldilocks
This one's just
sneaking in and
correct.
you're like the first floor. Let me try the second floor. Perfect.
Yes. Yes. That's how I was like,
Oh
where do
my
you want to
god.
watch the sunset right now? I was like, dude, that hammock right there. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. I snuck into like there's this house that like I really like in St. Catharines. I'm not gonna say the address just in case the person who owns it is watching. But I snuck in their backyard. Like no one was there. Like they hadn't been there like from what I know for like a long time. Like I go visit that house all the time and I've never seen anybody there.
Yeah.
So I went in the backyard and they have like it's like a lake view property. And so like you just see like the lake and you can look across and see Toronto. It's like it's gorgeous. And so like I just went to the back and like pretended like it was my house and just was like, oh, it's so nice out today and just looked across.
Yes. Dude, it's so great for manifestation because like you're in it for real.
We're not saying trespass, guys, but like we're not saying it.
Yeah. Follow the impulse.
That's exactly what we're saying. Follow your impulse. That was an impulse. I went with a friend and like we were like looking at the house at the front and then we walked up to the gate and we just looked at each other. We're like, do it. We're like, let's go.
Yes.
It just felt so right. So
Yeah.
we had to. I normally wouldn't just walk into someone's yard or anything. But I honestly I felt like it was my house. So you know, it just felt right.
Yeah. Same for me. When I went out on the second floor, I was just like, dude, like, I feel like I'm meant to be here right now.
Yeah. That's so funny.
All right, next question. So I have a few on the table right now. I shuffle as we were talking, and if these came out, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
What makes you you? Uh,
That's funny. I actually, at the interview I had for this place I got hired at, the first question, the interviewer, my employer, she's like, "So tell me about yourself." And immediately I was like, "I don't know. I like sales." I was like trying I'm a single mom, and then like I felt like, oh my god, like I'm not answering this question, but I didn't want to get into like hypnosis and spiritual stuff or like
yeah,
anything like that. And I'm like, but I'm also trying to be like genuine, like tell her about myself. oh, I'm a spirit having a human experience. Okay, I'm like, no, not that. So I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny because she still ended up hiring me after how badly I answered that question. But I think because I kind of laughed about it too, I was like, it was
Yeah.
easy. What makes me me? I really like to have fun. And there's something about me that like really just knows and believes that like life is about having fun. And like there's just like a deep curiosity that I've always had. And it's just like never satiated. It like whenever I find something out, like it's great. I'm satisfied, but then I'm already hungry again for more. I'm just like a curious person, curious and fun. You know?
I love
Yeah.
that's super
What
spicy.
about you?
I would say my big heart and fearlessness in the sense that, like, yeah, I'm not afraid to go deep. So that kind of falls in line with the curiosity.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just like, I know there's just so much more to uncover and unravel, and that just gets me so freaking excited.
Yeah. I love that about you, by the way. Like, whenever we're like traveling or doing stuff, like, you're always the first person like on the beach or the first person to like, if someone's like, let's go over to that island, you're like already in the water. Like, and like me, I'm a little more pensive. I'm like, maybe, but you're already swimming out. I'm like, okay, let's go.
No, that's kind of like I was reflecting on this on my walk actually. It kind of fell in line, so it's like I'm feeling overwhelmed because I kind of feel like I'm being constricted in a sense, just with time there.
Mm,
But that's not true. But it's just like it's part of my personality. It's not kind of like FOMO. It's like, dude, like I just want to keep experiencing something new. And I have to realize sometimes too, like on the flip side, whenever it comes up, like I'm just gung ho. But like when I start to get the itch to do that and be that impulsive, I'm like, dude, I have a good over 70 years left on this earth. There's plenty of time to do everything I want to do.
yeah. Wow. Actually, that's really interesting though that you were saying like because it reminds me of what we were talking about last week about like you're like, oh, I have this itch to do something new. It's like maybe it's like a way of like reflecting. It's like, wait, how can I look at what I'm living in a new way?
Yeah,
This is the something new,
that's
you
a
know?
big, yes, exactly. That is a big, big lesson I've had to.
Yeah. Yep. I was actually really reflecting on that this week,
Me
like
too.
quite a bit.
Dude, I had such a great walk this morning. Again, I've been living in this neighborhood for over 30 years, and I just decided, I was like, let me just walk down this path.
Mm.
Such a beautiful little street, like so many daffodils, and like the neighbors, like just
Ooh.
beautifully decorated their front yards. And I was like, this is so nice. The same places I've always been to. It's just like, whoa, it's just so nice to just have that freshness.
Oh, that's awesome. Got any more questions?
Yes. All right. What matters to you and why?
Hmm. That's a good question. What matters to me, I can definitely say this, like, what matters, like, when it comes to, like, what's going on in the physical world, like, at this current time, that changes. But what really matters to me is, like, that I get to be myself
Yeah.
throughout those different things.
I love that so much. That's so
I feel
important.
like if there's anything that changes, like, like where I live, whether or not I'm a mother, like the time before I had my son, like I wasn't a mom at that time. And even then, I remember people telling me, like, oh, I shouldn't do that. Like, I'm too young. I don't have the support, blah, blah, blah. And like, it mattered to me that I made my own decision.
Hmm.
And like, that just felt like the right decision to make. And like, even like now, it's like some people don't it doesn't matter to me if people don't understand why I make certain decisions. I care about what my loved ones think, but at the same time, like I'm still making my own decision because it that matters to me more, you
Yeah.
know? So
I
yeah,
love
I
that.
want to be myself. That matters to me.
Yeah. Like no matter what happens and what changes, like your essence is the same.
Yeah. What about you? What
Um,
matters to you?
I would say at this point in my life, trusting, continuing to trust my guidance and intuition, because that's
Mm,
the only thing leading me at this point. That's the only thing I'm following. It's like no, yeah, like no matter what's going on, what happens, what decisions I have to make, like I know I'm always gonna rely on my own guidance. So that's the only thing that matters to me right now. Everything else is gonna fall into place after that.
yeah. I feel like yeah, that's like almost like another like face of like just being yourself because being it's like I feel like yeah it's like trusting your guidance like that gut thing
Yeah.
that's just telling you like this is what you want
Yeah.
as opposed to the other decision.
Which is so important because it's like when you're expressing that guidance to others, especially when you have to give someone like an answer for a decision, like they're not going to understand it or they may not understand it. And it's like, I don't understand it either, but that's what my guidance says. So I gotta
Yeah.
go with it. We're both clueless here.
I think that's actually a really, a lot of people like, there's like that saying like, oh, be yourself, but like there's no real way of like understanding what that means if you just say be yourself. But I think like the way to like explain what that really means is to trust your guidance,
Yeah.
to trust like to trust your desires and your
Okay.
impulses.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be yourself, because yourself is changing constantly, you know? So,
Dude, that's such
yeah.
an important distinction. Yes. I love these. We're getting so, getting deep.
I'm having so much fun.
Me too. All right. And my guidance is saying to pick the last card on the pile.
Okay.
Describe paradise.
Ooh. Okay. Immediately I see like water and plants.
Hmm. Yes.
Like if you're gonna like if it's a place, I'm like I just see like trickling waterfalls and make it look like they're like sparkles in the air, and
Yeah.
like leaves and like just peace and quiet. That's like a place, and it's like warm. But I also think of like paradise in terms of, again, back to the new earth. Like if we think of earth as paradise, what would that be like? Because not everywhere on earth is going to be warm with waterfalls. Sometimes it's like in the Arctic with ice, or like in the desert with sand. Just allowing earth to be in its natural way, allowing earth to be herself,
Yeah.
it's like, and then enjoying that difference there. Sometimes I think like, oh, like how much I want to be like in that like, waterfall with the warmth and the sun and all the plants and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I'm stuck in Canada. And I think, well, look around. It's so beautiful. Like there are so many trees, and they're like hawks in the sky and foxes and deer. It's like this is paradise too.
Yeah.
Like, and I try to see it that way. Even in the winter when the leaves are off of the trees, I'm like, ooh, now I get to see like the different like formation of the branches that you don't get to see because they're hidden under the leaves. So, I think paradise is already here, but just like it's a matter of really like seeing it and allowing it to like flourish so that you don't have to try so hard to focus. It's easy to see.
I love that so much. Oh, man. That just took it at a whole different level. Just listening to that.
I want to cry. I'm like, oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was nice. And it is true.
Yeah.
So, what about you? Describe paradise for you.
I before I get into that, like I actually had that experience for what you were describing, reminded me from last week. It was the day before my birthday last week. And I just sat down to meditate, like literally behind that spot where I'm pointing right now. And
Mm.
it was the time of day. As soon as I closed my eyes, and I was feeling honestly just neutral, like not super elated or like super down. And I closed my eyes, and the sun from the window was just hitting my face so perfectly. I felt the warmth of the sun. There was a bird, like pretty much right next to my window. It was so close and loud to my ear, and that just like broke me down. I just started crying from gratitude, and I just couldn't take it. I had to open my eyes, and I was just like, bro. And I just started crying from gratitude, like think about like how beautiful everything is. And then one of my best friends texted me, like literally at that moment. And then my older brother texted me a photo of my nephew smiling and laughing and having time with his like, and I was just like, tears down my face sobbing.
Aw,
Too much.
that is paradise.
But if I had to, like, the feeling of paradise for me, it's pretty much along that, like, just that unconditional gratitude and love and appreciation. And if I had to describe it, like, physically, what that would represent. Yeah, the sunshine on my face, my body, the warmthness of it, the cool
Mm.
breeze, just like gently blowing your hair, hearing the birds, just hearing the grass ruffling, just seeing all like every color in existence that exists on this earth through flowers and plants. It's just like a
Oh
rich
my,
blue sky. Like, yeah,
that's actually, it's funny. You probably can't see it, but there's like a little like crystal hanging like right there hanging. And every morning when the sun comes in, I have rainbows flood across my. Of course you have one. Of course you do.
Isn't it so freaking cool? I don't know if you could see it. I kind of have it on my walls a little bit.
Oh, I do see
Like,
some rainbows. Yeah.
yeah, like right there. Isn't that
That's so
like,
funny.
isn't it so magical? Oh my
Oh, every day. Like I'm just like, oh, when I wake up, like that's the first thing I see, and I just like I'll look at them and I'll like compare them and be like, oh, that one is thin, that one's big, and I just look at it. Honestly, makes me so happy. Like it's such a small thing, but it brings me so much joy.
God. Same here. Is yours a
And
rainbow?
sometimes like I'll put my hand on the window or like on the wall just to like make the rainbow go on my hand. I'm like, ooh,
I have one like right. I was staring at one like right in front of me as we were talking.
that's so funny. I love how like how in sync we are.
Yeah, real.
We have to have a crystal with rainbows flooding our room, of course.
It's so nice.
Duh.
What else would we expect? Next. Ooh, what is a common misconception that people may have about you?
Hmm. A misconception that people might have about me. Honestly, I don't think people have misconceptions about me. I think they have misconceptions about themselves. And they look at me through that lens. And then, it's just for them to like figure out what they came here to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. It's such a
I
big
think,
projection.
yeah, if I have any misconception, if I really even feel anyone misconceiving me, then like I have to ask myself, like, what misconception do I have about them?
Hmm.
So I really like, I don't even want to leave it up to their misconceptions or their projections or their perceptions of me. That's not what I'm here for. That's out of my control. I think what's more important is what I perceive and
Hmm.
what I decide and conceive and experience,
Yeah.
and then I can compare it to whether or not it's loving or not, you
Mm.
know. So,
Dude, that's a great point because it falls in line again. It's like you wouldn't take anything personally that whatever someone else says about you personally if you don't resonate with it on some level. So that's
yeah.
also damn. But along those lines, I would say, and I guess this is obviously like I'm resonating on it on some level, but maybe not, obviously, like definitely not 100%, like maybe 5%.
Mhm.
One prime example, I was actually taken aback by it, was I found out from a family member that other certain family members have said that it's like, oh, like I'm so irresponsible, like I don't take life seriously and stuff like that. And this was like the time where it's just like I was just traveling full time, like literally doing whatever I wanted, and I still do. Um, but I was just so surprised. I was just like, wow, like that's a perception you have. But the hilarious part with me is like, dude, I take life the most seriously. Like, yeah, like my whole life is dedicated to living life to its maximum and experiencing and like showing
Yeah.
and expressing love. Like, so does it, yeah. I would say maybe that's the biggest thing, like maybe on the outside. And I want my inner child to lead the way most of the times. And so sometimes I do notice differences in like maybe how I'm acting versus like full on adults. I mentioned this like on a YouTube video I had. And I was just like, dude, I feel so much that I'm just a big kid and I get to infiltrate the adult world.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think like that would be my biggest. Maybe that I can imagine that's the biggest misconception people have about me. That like I'm not taking life seriously when it's like, bro, that's
Yeah.
complete opposite of what I'm doing right now.
It's funny, but like I think of that and I'm like, that's the misconception they have about themselves. They think they're taking life seriously, but they're not even really having any fun. So how seriously are they taking? They have an
Yeah.
opportunity to like express who they are and what they're meant to do here, but like they're wasting it by doing what they are supposed to do. You
Yeah,
know?
what they feel they're supposed to do. Like, "Oh, I'm an adult. I work and pay taxes.
Yeah.
Fund my retirement." Like,
I suppress my emotions. I never follow my guidance. Like, you're
yeah,
way too serious, bro.
for real. Taking life too seriously in that way is the biggest mistake.
Yeah. I heard this like I think it was like a TEDx talk and this woman was talking about she was a hospice worker and or like she studied hospice workers and one of the number one things that people would say on their deathbed is that like they wish that they went and like did that thing they wanted to do or they had more fun or you know? And there are just so many like regrets that they didn't have and didn't do. And like when I watched that, I was like, oh, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be like, oh, I did so much. Like I'm so happy. You
Yeah.
know, like I want that to be my story. And that, it meant everything to me, you know? And I feel like that's taking life seriously, is
Yes.
knowing that like you have an opportunity to do this. Yeah.
I had the same experiment when I was at experiment experience when I was in college. I did an internship. It was just like a for elderly people. But it was like people with like Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. But I was just like I for like 2 weeks straight, like almost all day. Like I was just talking to like all these people over 70 years old. Unfortunately, some kind of like terminal as well. Ever since then, they express the same things to me. Like I would ask them, I was just like, have you enjoyed your life? Because I was kind of like suicidal at that point in my life too. So like
Mm.
it was just a big thing for me. It's like, dude, like you've lived a full ass life. Like how was it? And they all share the same things. Like I regret not doing this. I regret being afraid. Like I regret not improving the relationship with my kids or my spouse or whatever.
Hmm.
Dude, ever since I heard that, I was just like, nah, bro. Like I'm no matter what, I'm never gonna have to ask myself, what if? Because whatever I want to do, I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. No regret.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And like, how perfect timing for you to have that experience because of the way that you felt. You were allowed to see people at the end of their lives and get that guidance for them without you having to go and take your life and figure out after that, being like, oh,
Yeah.
I shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, you still have the opportunity. Well, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And a bunch of cards flew on the floor, so I'm just gonna pick one
Okay.
random. This one feels right. What advice would you give to yourself 5 years ago?
Ooh, okay,
2024
5 years
now?
ago.
2019? Right
Yeah.
before
Okay.
COVID. Jeez.
Okay, cool. I guess the advice that I'd give myself 5 years ago. I had just moved to St. Catharines. I moved out of, honestly, I don't know. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I did pretty good. Yeah, just like trust your guidance, I guess, would be the advice. Maybe there were times that I didn't do that as much, that I could have done more, but I don't think there's like anything that like I would change really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
2000, that was like literally the prime time of my life. That's when I was probably like I pretty much got divorced at the end of 2018, and I started off 2019 just completely on the self-discovery journey.
Mm.
So that's what started everything. Like a few months into that, like I discovered Dolores Cannon and like Abraham Hicks.
Wow.
The only thing I would tell myself is, girl, you're about to have the most wildest ride of your life. Buckle up and enjoy, and just know it's all going to be good.
Yeah, enjoy it.
And it has been.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's one thing that like I did learn throughout that. So like I'm glad I learned it because not knowing that is what caused me to learn it. But I think like there was a lot of times where like I would go through certain things and I'd be like really upset that they happened. There was a guy that, well, probably more than one guy. There were guys that I dated and didn't work out and like I was like really upset by that. But now I realize how much like I've learned from that and how much like I like my connection with myself better because of those things. So like I guess like the time that I spent being upset would have been shortened quite a bit if I knew that it's like, oh, it was meant to be. And knowing it was meant to be and knowing that something better was always coming and like it was always for my benefit. It would just be like so much easier to like accept.
Yeah,
So yeah.
sure. Do you feel like it's getting easier now?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't really feel like there's anything that could really like change how I feel about myself at this point. Like I love myself. Even if something upsets me or I feel like, you know, like I always know I'm like, okay, if I'm upset, that means like there's like a misalignment between me and me because part of me knows that everything is okay and I'm still valuable, I'm still lovable. Part of me knows that. So like if there's something else that doubts that, it's like that's the part that needs to come into alignment. And I could just like sit down and journal or meditate or talk to a friend or whatever it takes to get that alignment back. It's not a big deal. It's like I remember like the other day I was feeling upset and I was driving and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get home and clean up my mind, like clean up my emotions. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna feel better. And like by the end of the day, I was like, don't worry, girl, I got you. Like I just felt like that. It was as much as I was like, oh, anxious and annoyed and you know, like feeling whatever. I was like, I got you. You're gonna feel better soon. I was like, okay, all right. You know, like
I was just like self talk.
yeah, totally.
I love that phrase though, by the way, clean up. Like that's exactly what it is. Like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
just clean up all of whatever's going on right now.
yeah. How about you? Do you have like, how does like your experience with that? Like, do you feel like there's something that like is like really like a must have for you, or like do you feel like yeah, how do you feel about that?
Like those times where I am upset.
Yeah, like is there anything that like if it were to like happen, you would be like not okay with it?
Ooh, that's a great question. Like a specific scenario. Like what would make me the most upset, pretty much?
No, no, I don't want to ask you that. But I mean, like, okay, like, is there anything that, like, is there a thing? Not like what is a thing, but like, is there a thing, like, in your life that, like, if that were to happen, you would feel like you'd give up on yourself?
No, honestly, no. I can't imagine a single thing that would make me want to give up on myself. I guess it's because it's like I've learned, especially through experience, that like, bro, like if some shit is going down, like that's probably one of the greatest things to happen for real in the long run. Like there's just
Yeah.
so much growth out of that. I feel like if shit hits the fan, dude, shit is about to skyrocket right after that in the best way possible.
Yeah. I feel like that's it, like, especially like learning about the afterlife. I feel like there really is no risk. There really is no reason to like ever give up. You know what I mean? Like there's like not a single thing that could happen. Like, you know, like the whole country could blow up and like we're all gonna be okay. You know?
That's such a powerful question. What would make me give up on myself? Wow. Shit, bro. All we have is us. Like you give that up, you give up everything.
I might have a pause on myself, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And there's another part of me that didn't give up. I was like, oh, okay, I'm waiting for you.
Yes,
When you're done
exactly.
having your tantrum, let's get back on track.
That's how it feels for real. Wow. Dude, that should be a question in this deck, honestly.
Pardon?
That should be a question in this deck.
I
So
think so. But you know
excited.
what? It might be like it might be hard for some people because some people will be like, "Oh yeah, like if my boyfriend left me, I would literally die. I'd kill myself." Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I
Maybe it's
feel
better it's not.
yeah. Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh.
What are you thankful for in this very moment?
In this very moment, I'm thankful for you and our podcast and our game that we're playing. I'm having so much fun.
That's exactly my answer too, dude. It's such a beautiful sunny day out in New York right now. Like this is so
Nice.
perfect. I love it.
Yes. Oh, and for my son for taking my dog out to pee so that we could hang out
Oh,
on here.
thank you. Oh, interesting. Okay. What do you have that you cannot live without?
um Honestly, nothing like except for like maybe like some like physical apparatuses.
Yeah.
I'll go on, okay.
I guess yeah, like let's think about it. Like that's a interesting question. Like physical stuff. Like
Hmm.
if you were gonna move, like ooh, I'm gonna spin.
Okay.
If you're gonna move, like top five items that you have to bring with you.
Okay. Other than like my living beings,
Yeah.
like my plants and my animals and my son, other than that, assuming I can't get a new one, I think there's like maybe like some photo albums.
Oh, yeah.
Um like a bed, I could always get a new bed or like new sofa or like you know kitchen supplies that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
like what's like really sentimental to me is like my yeah, the only thing I like things that you can't replace basically,
Yeah.
like photo albums or like family kind of memorabilia, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's how I feel too.
Everything else it's like just stuff,
Yeah.
you know. I love my stuff, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, most of it like it probably will be replaced at some point anyway, you know,
Yeah.
so
Ooh, that
or
would yeah.
swapped out.
Yeah, that's my answer too.
I,
There's just like a few family stuff, like even like notes my mom or my dad or my uncle or
mhm.
my brother has written, and I kind of just feel like 50 years from now, that's just gonna be so precious and beautiful to like
Yeah,
just have with me.
yeah. I really like, I actually like, it's funny. It's an interesting question because it really like, I guess to me, like what's important to me, I've really like found that like over the last little while, like I've become so much less attached to physical things. Like I remember growing up, like my mom, she used to like keep a lot of stuff, like a lot of our baby clothes and like a lot of like things that she would buy, she wouldn't want to like give away or throw out. And like we just have a lot of stuff in the house. And like I remember how hard it was for her. Like we would like try to help her clean up and get rid of stuff, and it was like really hard for her to do. But eventually, like, she ended up having to move and definitely had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And like, and I remember I had a bit of that myself. Like when I first got my apartment, like I would just like keep everything, and like I just had so many things, and I thought, okay, like one, like what's more important to me is like being able to access my house. Like if I can't like open my closet and like access my closet, it's like what's the point of having a closet full of stuff? But like nowadays it's like I literally, like if someone were to tell me it's like, oh, there's like a place, let's say in Costa Rica, you know, like I would freely give away everything in my house to like move to my new beach house. Like that to me would be like easy to do. But I also like, again, it's like knowing about the afterlife. It's like none of this, even the letters are not going to stay. Even like the photo album's not going to stay when I pass. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not going to come with me. I mean, when I pass, really, it's the emotion, it's the connection, which is
Yeah.
not a physical thing at all.
Yes. Exactly. Pick one or two.
Too.
Dude, gratitude session. All right. What little things
Nice.
in life do you take the time to stop and appreciate?
I love this question. And then we definitely like went over some of them. Like the lights from the crystals.
Yes.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
The sunshine.
Sunshine. I like even think things that like I've never seen before. Like I like to appreciate them. Like I just like the thought of bears. I like the thought of like lions, and like just like knowing that they're on the earth with me,
Dude,
or
okay.
volcanoes.
Yeah. Side note, okay, this is crazy. Like, just things that you've mentioned that have been very relevant in my life right now. Costa Rica. Scared because my grandfather, like, that's one of his signs for me.
Oh, wow.
The craziest dream last night, dude. It was just like lion people, but they were acting like humans, and I was just like talking to them. But
Interesting. Were they Lyrans?
I'm not sure. And what was crazy is that my friend Marty has been really digging into like near death experiences. And in one of the
Hmm.
videos she sent me, this woman said that like in her kind of like flashback in between her time, like she got to come back into her body. But she said she was basically like visited by and greeted by the lion people.
That's interesting. Oh, you know, lion and Lyran are very similar words. I'm only just now realizing.
I
That's
thought it was
interesting.
okay. How do you spell the other one? Lyra?
Lyran.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did a past life regression on someone actually who remembers being a Lyran. Like he described like the planet. He said he's like, we're cat people. Like we're basically humans with like cat faces and bodies. And their, yeah, girl, their like planet was like blown up by like some other intergalactic war. And I asked him like, why are you guys involved? And he started crying. He's like, I don't know. Like we're innocent. We're not part of this at all. And they had to come to Earth. Their souls had to come to Earth. What
Dude,
did you find?
no, this is insane. Like this picture, it kind of looks like Avatar, but this is pretty much what
Yeah.
I see in my dream. I was just like sitting at a table with a bunch of
Oh,
people, like clearly like lion features, but just like talking as normal.
that's interesting.
I gotta, okay, maybe I have some visitors.
Wow,
So cool. Whoa, okay.
that's so neat.
That's so cool.
What did they say in your dream? Like, what was?
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but that's so stupid. Basically, they were saying, because I kind of felt like I was like with a bunch of Muslim people, and so, and I guess they were Muslim, but they were basically saying that like they started making some Jewish jokes, and they
Okay.
didn't realize they were basically they were and they didn't realize that they were around other Jewish people, and they felt really bad. That was the conversation
Oh,
hearing.
that's interesting.
Muslim lions talking about Judaism, bro.
Okay, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. Maybe, okay, because a lot of Lyrans, like their souls came here as Earth people. It is kind of like it's like what's going on right now in like maybe they are in like their spirit is laughing because they realize who they are. It's like, okay, this is like, you know,
I feel where you're going with that. Okay.
I don't know where I'm going with this anymore.
Okay.
But
No,
maybe like just like I don't know, maybe not, maybe like maybe they are like, I don't know if they're an aspect of you or an aspect of like family or people that you know, or like I don't know. Do you get a sense of like how you knew these people?
it felt very familiar, and I kind of feel like the only reason the whole Muslim Jewish thing kind of brought up was that there was a other like the actual humans. Like there were some people from like an old private school I went to, so I kind of
Mhm.
feel like those two worlds just got merged. But yeah, they felt like so familiar, and I was just like, it wasn't until I woke up I was just like, bro, those were lying people. Like, in my dream, it felt so normal. Like we were just all chilling, like having dinner together.
Interesting. I don't know. Thank you for sharing that though, by the way, because I've been actually like wondering about Lyran people ever since I did that past life regression. I've never heard of them before that.
So cool. You got to do a past life regression on that.
Yeah. It
What?
was like really neat and the landscape was so cool. Like there were like trees, but the trees were mushrooms and they were like massive mushrooms with like these like dangly pieces that were like glowing blue.
Cool.
Really, really neat. That was like so interesting. Like, and it's funny because I met the guy and he was like talking about, he's like, oh, I think I'm from this planet, but I don't really know. He's like, let's do the past life regression. And he was like from somewhere completely different. And the way he described it and the emotion he was feeling going through it, it was like, oh, like this is really something. But
So
it was funny because he actually was wearing a shirt with a cat on it and it had like this like psychedelic like art behind the cat
stop.
face.
No way.
Yeah. And then like only at the end of the session I realized I was like, his shirt literally is exactly what we talked about.
These people.
Almost every one of my past life regressions has had that happen. I did a past life regression on a woman and she had like, you know, Pink Floyd and they have like that diamond with the light going through and the rainbows. It's funny we're talking about that again. When I did her past life regression, she just like went back to the light. She was a light being and it was all about light. And it was interesting. Her shirt had like a light passing through a prism. And then another one I did, like she was wearing a blue dress, like a bright blue dress. And she's like, I live with the blue people on this blue planet. And everything we do is blue. She's like, blue is our color. And I was like, that's so wild.
So cool, dude. Nice.
It has something to do with the shirt, I swear. Like whatever shirt they're wearing will be like a clue as to what the past life regression is about.
Wow. So cool.
Oh my gosh.
Get a
And it
chef.
was actually interesting. The girl in the blue, she was like, she remembered like she went to different lives and there's always something blue about it. Like she's like, oh, I'm wearing a blue dress with flowers and like, but it wasn't the dress that she was wearing that she described. Like she was wearing like a different outfit, like blue flowers on the dress with like the blue, or and then she said she had like jewelry on and there was blue jewelry. Like she remembered living in Egypt and she had like cuffs that had like blue stones. It was like really, really cool that like there's so much like blue involved in like all of her lives. So yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna send you a video I found on Instagram, dude. It's like the most perfect shade of blue on this like artwork that was just like on the ceiling of this beautiful. I think it was like a German palace or like Italian palace.
Okay.
It's the most satisfying blue I've ever seen in my life.
Nice. I like a good blue. Like the water in
Yeah,
Capri and the grottos.
yeah, the blue grotto. Oh wait. Ooh,
What have we got?
what do you dream about?
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's an interesting question. I feel like this could be a video on its own,
Yeah.
but I'll try to keep it short. But we should definitely do like a dream video. Yeah. I I have like different like layer like levels of dreams. So in some dreams like I'll literally just be picturing like it'll just be like images of like patterns of light and like almost like I can tell that I'm almost like downloading some sort of like program math problem. You ever like see like in the Matrix when you look at the computer and there's like symbols coming down? It's almost like that's coming into my mind or but sometimes it'll be like light squiggles or like that kind of thing. There's that. And I feel like I'm downloading at that moment. Like it really just feels like a download because I wake up, I'm like, what did I just get? I don't know. Like it doesn't like click in. And I get it as it's coming in. I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. And I wake up, I'm like, what? I get what? So there's a lot of that. um, and then there'll be dreams where I'm like traveling and I know I'm having an out of body experience because I'm flying in the dream, but my mind will sometimes like try to make sense of it by making it like a lot of times like when I was a dancer like I knew I was in a having an out of body experience because I'd be like dancing on the pole but I'd be doing like these tricks that like I know I can't do it in real life. Like I was so light and airy and I could like fly and flip and I'm like woo I'm doing all this. Next thing you know I'm catapulting off and like flying and I'm okay well I'm having an out of body experience obviously but that's out of body, that's not really even in the dream state.
Hmm.
But then there'll be like dreams that like are more just like processing like what's going on in my life or something I saw yesterday or that. And then there's other dreams where it's like it's a simulation where I'm practicing for something. There's so many types. Like I have many, many different types of dreams. Um, but yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say like honestly the main dreams that I end up having, it's like it's very people focused.
Hmm.
And I typically see people that I know in my real life. And it's usually like I feel like it's always like a learning lesson. It's like how I'm managing my energy around people. And it's either that, but like if I'm lucid dreaming, which happens just like occasionally, that's the only time like it's more focused on like my environment and like the physical abilities that like I'm just excited
Mm.
to try out. Whether it's like flying, yeah, coming over fear, swimming in like ice cold water.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
I
sometimes
had I had a really interesting dream, and like this is one of my favorite dreams because like there was someone that I was seeing, and like I think that he is my twin flame. And the reason why I say this is because so many times in my dream he'll be my teacher in the dream. Like I'll be at a school and he'll be like teaching a lesson, or he'll be like my boss and he'll be like, you know, like somewhere like some kind of like teacher to me, you know. And in one of my dreams, and this was like we had dated for like a little over a year, and when we finally like cut things off and we're like we're not doing this anymore, I started like really just like leaning into like a lot more of my art and just kind of like following my impulses and just like, and I was having so much fun, and I really just, it was like I started to feel like, wow, like everything's gonna be fine, like at the right moment the right person will come, like, and I just really started really feeling that. And I woke up and I went to bed, and I woke up from this dream, and I remember in the dream I was like talking to him. We're like at a, I was like behind the counter at a store and he was in the store, and I said to him like, I'm like, you want me to stand on my head for you? You want me to do this? You don't want me to do that? I'm not doing it anymore. And he's like, exactly. And that was the dream. And I was like, that's what he was trying to tell me this whole
bro.
time. Stop trying to stand on my fucking head for him. Just, it was about me falling in love with me.
Exactly.
I
Dude.
felt so good when I woke up. There was like no like, oh, I'm sad about it. Like it's like no, I was like, oh, like that dream just meant everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you have a dream like in particular that like really sticks out to you?
Um, Honestly, one lately, because I just got so called out on it, and I think I had to do something with it was related to like my energy at work. Because I'm a consultant, like I have a very serious job, ironically. I go
Hmm.
to clients and stuff like that, but I'm still myself. But it's just so funny to watch others take it so seriously. And so in the dream, and most of our clients are nonprofits. So in the dream, I kind of just like went on like professional mode, and I was like with a group of people, kind of like in a meeting, but it was all in person. And I was just like blabbing nonsense, like corporate nonsense, like the development team's gonna do this so we can increase revenue by this. And I was just like, ugh. And the guy I was with, I guess like, and he was kind of like, he seemed kind of like a big boss, and he was just so disgusted by that energy. He's just like, you're being so fake right now. Like I can't even be around you right now. And I felt so called out, and I remember just in the dream just being so shocked. But I feel like that was so relevant to my life because I'm learning that it's okay not to be that way, even in a super businessy corporate setting. Like no one
Wow.
gives a shit about that energy. And it's so fake every single time. And why on earth
Wow.
would anyone do that?
That's so funny. I love that. It's like a reminder, right?
Yeah. But bro,
That's
if
so
someone to call
funny.
me out on my energy like that, I'm never gonna. That's ugh, man. And my other one was yeah, like my lucid dreams that I've had. Because man, those are just like literally me creating a whole movie and plot line in my mind.
Wow.
So wild.
Oh, it is wild.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we need to have a dreams episode. Okay, intention.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely do.
Ooh, for this next one, cards just came flying out, and there's multiples of them. So how
Okay.
about pick a number, and I'm just gonna count.
Okay. 3.
One, two. Whoa. For who or what do you work for? Dude, these questions, can I just say, I've played this game a couple of times with people, like obviously not like a whole this length of time, just a few questions, but like, dude, these questions are like spot on.
These are great questions,
Yeah.
actually. For who or what do you work for? Yeah, I feel like I work for Source. So I don't know if it's a who or a what, but
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it reminds me of like in The Grinch, there's like this scene where they're talking about the baby Grinch and they're like, he's not a who, he's a what? I don't know, those just came back in my head. I love The Grinch. It's one of my favorite movies.
Is it the one with Jim Carrey?
Yeah. I'll watch that one like every scene, every single scene. I think actually no, there's one scene that I don't like. It's when the Grinch is like actually being like kind of mean to Max, his little dog. I'm
Mm.
like, I could do without that. But he is the Grinch, right? So it's and he, but it's like I didn't really like that scene. But like scene for scene in that movie, like it's like perfection. I really like it. That and Shrek. I love Shrek so much.
Like,
It's such a great movie.
did I
There are like big
watch
life lessons in there.
I haven't seen it since I was like probably like a teenager, so I should watch it again as an
Oh
adult.
my God. I went through a phase, me and my sister and like another friend, like we had watched it one evening, like while we are on mushrooms, and like we would watch that movie like together, like all the time. We
Um,
went to like this house party in Toronto, we ended up staying there, we like made everybody else watch it. And they're like, why are we watching Shrek? And we're like, shh, it's on. We're like, okay. Oh my God.
wasn't there like a big anniversary that came up, or like is it like the 15th year anniversary, or something like that from the first one?
Oh, I don't know. I should know, I guess. I have no idea.
The Shrek spur.
I just know that like I resonate with Donkey so much.
Mm.
Like not just because of my teeth, but like partly. I feel like my like friendly energy that's like cool with everyone, even like an ogre. It's like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
even slightly annoying sometimes. But like, yeah, I feel like I resonate with that a lot. And like part of me is like, don't you want to be Fiona? I'm like, yeah, but Donkey is more accurate.
I feel that. Yeah, I could see that too, actually. We do one more question.
Yeah, let's do one more.
All right, Source. Make it a good one. I'm just gonna shuffle everything on the table.
How good can it get, Source?
What do you wish you knew?
What do I wish I knew?
Ooh, I can go first with this because I've been
You
thinking.
go first.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
thinking about this lately. Well, I wish I knew more how energy truly works to manifest. I'm just so curious, like the mechanics of like how this physical reality is created and how
Hmm.
much of a deliberate creator can I really be. And I feel like I am learning that, but like, yeah, because I'm learning that, I just wish I knew more about that.
Mm,
I know that's gonna be like a life journey.
yeah. I think that's a really good one. And like I also want to know like where is it that like I'm tripping myself up sometimes?
Ooh, hell yeah.
Sometimes like there's like certain things it's like I was listening to a podcast that was like it was Daryl Anka, so the guy that channels Bashir.
Mhm.
He was talking about like one of the lines he had said was something along the lines of how good it feels when you know, like that feeling of knowing something. And so like when you like know like all the answers to like everything, like how blissful that is. And I feel like I like in general want to have a more of a sense of knowing when it comes to things and
Yeah,
not kind of like guessing or hoping or just like that sense of like let's say when it comes to manifesting something like knowing that it's already done and I'm just on my way to it.
yeah,
Um
knowing.
or
Yeah,
it's on its way to me, whichever. We're on it, we're on our way to each other kind of thing.
yeah,
And knowing it, not like hoping or like that sense of like knowing my value, not like hoping that I'm valuable or like guessing or even needing to remind myself. It's like because a part of me does know my value, always knew, always knows, and I kind of just want to be in that. I want to be more aligned with that part of me that knows. you
I
know
feel you 100.
There's a part of me that knows, like, if I were to look on a beach and like dig 6 feet underneath into the ground, there would be a chest of money. A part of me actually knows where that chest is, or where many of those chests are, or where my true love is, or where many of my true loves are. Like, there's a part of me that knows everything. It has access to everything. And so, like, I just want to be in alignment with that part of me more so I can access that knowing and like navigate through what feels fun for me, with more ease.
I'll never forget that blew my mind. I think it was like this past last summer. I was listening to a Bashar clip on TikTok, and he was just like, true abundance, like it's not necessarily the money or like whatever you think abundance is, like more of. He was just like, true abundance is getting the exact piece of information or knowledge you need when you need it. Bro, that
Mhm.
really is true, but that's all you need. Like what
That's so interesting. But like, how good does that feel? I'll be like walking my dog and like I'll just get an insight and I'll be like, ooh, like I feel rich. I'm like, I gotta tell everyone. Like I feel
yeah,
like I gotta give it out. Like I feel like blessed to get it. Like
right?
I feel so abundant in that moment,
Yes.
you know?
Whoa, I'm getting ringing in my ears. Whoa.
Ooh.
That was just so
You're
piercing.
downloading something.
Whatever does happen, like I just stay completely still until it's over. Like, okay, yeah. And I see like the loading screen bar in my head. Something's something's
Oh
being
my
completed.
gosh.
Whoa, that was okay.
You know, even with this podcast, I feel like there's sometimes like I have like I'll be like I'll get like insights and I just want to share them so badly. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Jasmine thinks about this and like, you know, to share it with the world. Like it's like a way of like it is feeling like abundant, you know? Just to even have this conversation, just be like share
Yeah.
my like gifts and experiences. It feels like abundance, you know?
And that's always such a dude. I'm like always like flying high after every single episode, or even like after talking to you. I'm just like, dude, damn, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It just
Yeah,
feels
for real.
good.
And just like the rainbows like that like flood across the wall, you know what I mean? Like talking about them and experiencing that with you is like there's no like just the fact that like you have that like no money could buy that experience to know that we both have like a crystal hanging
Yeah,
and realizing that we both have that and
yeah.
how much joy it brings you like each of us.
Isn't it so cool? Like when you angle it from the sun, it just like floods the whole room. I just like.
Yeah.
I think I had one on my face early. Oh, there you go. All right, there. Yeah.
Oh, I was seeing that at the beginning when we were talking, and I was just like, oh, maybe it's just the lighting or something. We're like, I think she has a rainbow on her forehead. Nice.
Ooh, I took a super cool selfie of like the rainbow hit me exactly on the eyelid, so it was like a rainbow eyeshadow basically, and I
Ooh.
like took a shot. It was so cool.
You see, money can't buy that. But
No,
that's just like it's a small piece of life just to appreciate.
yeah, which falls in line. Like, what are the little things you appreciate in life, dude? There's so many. Like,
Yeah. Oh my god. So many. And all you have to do is just like make an intention to like find them and to look out for them.
yeah,
Open your eyes to it and like you'll see.
yeah. Then your whole life just gets flooded with.
Yeah. It's like you have the crystal, now just hang it in the window. You know
Yes.
what I mean? We have the ability to see all the abundance
You
and
know,
experience it.
I don't even remember how I got that crystal. I have no idea where it came from.
You're just born with it.
Maybe it's source.
Oh my gosh. Kate, two things. One is I explained my crystal to Carla and she's like, "Oh yeah, those are the fairies." And
Aw,
she's like
Carla.
she told me like ever since she was like young before she really got into spiritual stuff, she'd still like give them out to people and be like, "Here's the fairies. Like have some fairies in your room."
So sweet. We love you,
And
Carla.
that was like I'm like, "Of course. Of course you did that."
Let the fairies surprise and delight you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what was the other thing I was going to say? I had like two like oh my gosh, I have to tell you this. Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, come.
It will. It always does. When you least expect it. Bow.
Yeah, whenever something like well, I feel like I was about to say something and it completely exits my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm not. I guess I wasn't meant to say it
Not
right
yet,
now.
anyway.
Right. Dude, look at these are all the questions we answered today.
Ooh.
That's a lot, dude. That went by so fast.
That went by so fast and it was so much fun.
Yeah. I'm
Wow.
sure we'll keep playing this game as the episodes go on because there's so many questions in there.
Yeah, oh my gosh, for real.
What we answered versus what's available. Abundance.
Isn't that, I was just thinking, I'm like, that's a metaphor for life.
Yeah, for real. What's left to uncover, for real.
What's available? Like this huge pile. Like,
What's
all you gotta do is ask. Oh my gosh. We're so lucky.
yeah.
Lucky and blessed and abundant and loved.
And
Yeah.
inspire and
Yeah.
inspiring.
Inspiring. Ooh. That's the thing about abundance. It's like, it's not something, it's like, okay, for example, like when you get an inspiration, that's a feeling of abundance. But immediately once you get the inspiration, it's not for you to keep. It's for you to like pass on. You get an inspiration to make a painting, then you make a painting, and that is there to inspire someone else to have an idea for a book, which inspires someone else to have an idea for a TV show, which inspires someone else to change their lives, or like, it's to give away.
Your gift always has a receiver.
Yeah, we're
Ooh.
just the conduit of the gift.
Dude, I love thinking about chain of effects like that.
So good.
Like one small action or thing you put out into the world can like drastically change so many different timelines.
You know what show I really like? And it's just like a small like micro version of like what would really happen if everybody really just lived their passion. It's Queer Eye. Have you ever watched Queer Eye?
The reality show?
Yeah, so it's four guys and they're
Yeah.
queer, and like one of them is like an outreach like social worker. One's a social worker, one's a interior designer, the other one does fashion, and the other one does like hair and makeup. And so they go into like people's lives who are like maybe like depressed and they have bad fashion, and like they just like they go in, they like redo the interior, they help them like meet new people or achieve goals, or like there was a trans person, they got them like they got their gender changed on their ID card, and like they help like with like social work type stuff. They give them a new wardrobe, and they teach them how to cook like healthier, easier meals, and like they've changed their lives. But it's like these people, all they're doing is living their passion, and they're like, you know what I mean? And then they're just helping other people do that too by living their passion. It's like, imagine we all just really, really like dove into our passion. How like an interior designer, like that's not like a spiritual job. It is like the way I see it, it is, but like you don't think of it as like a spiritual job. But like when you just change like the colors and the placement and like the like intention in the room, when people walk into their homes, every episode they are crying. They're like, I can't believe this is my home. You know what I mean? And like how much that actually like changes the way people feel. That's like huge, right? Yeah. Or like tweak to their fashion. Have you not seen it?
I love that show.
Oh, you do? Okay. I
Yeah.
thought you said you've never seen it. I was like, oh.
I love the new generation too. They're so fun. Jonathan is
Oh
my
my god. I love Jonathan.
he's the cutest dude.
Yeah, for real. Oh my gosh. I love them all, and like like I actually love them all like in my
Yeah.
own way.
And their energy too are just they're such bright lights.
I feel like we'd have so much fun with them. Like they're so fun. Like they're always like hyper and excited, and like I love even when you see them working, they get like an inspiration or an idea right in front of your eyes, and they're like, ooh, like, and you could just see it happen. Or like the synchronicities that they find. Like they'll like drive down a street and be like, that's the name of like one of them, or like, like, oh my god.
By the way, is it 1:14 for you right now? Are we in different time
It's
zones?
1:14, yeah.
Have we?
Same time. Oh no. I forgot to change my clock. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just like, no way we were in different time zones this whole time. And like, so every time I mentioned
No.
the name, you just indulged me. Like, oh, she means Eastern.
Oh my gosh. No, oh, because I said it was 1:11 earlier, right?
And I was just like, uh, for
I gotta
you?
change my clock.
I love that though. You get to experience two different 11 and 1 ones.
Oh yeah,
One
that's
11.
true. I do like that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this has been so much fun.
It's
Yeah,
great to like learn more about you too, like about each other. Like, I'm really enjoying this.
same.